everyone, it's KaloaGames here today, and today we're doing a pretty simple build, but I really like how it turned out. This build, was inspired by a house I saw on Pinterest. I will put up the picture here so you can see it and see where I got the inspiration from. This house was on an article about narrow houses, and I've always liked narrow, tallish houses. Actually, the one right next to it, it's pretty kind of in the same narrow but small style. That house I did was the second video I did on my channel, and it didn't have a voiceover yet, so if you want to see it, I'm gonna place a card right here. And yeah, so the style of this house it's very modern. One of the most modern builds I've done, probably, because I'm still getting used to the style and learning all the little bits and pieces that come with it. So these kinds of builds where I take inspiration from something already existing and already very much in that style help me a lot to figure out how to make it work in The Sims. Actually, this build, the first picture I found of it was just the front, and that's when I started building it. And you can only see the driveway in the front. There's no entrance in the front. So I thought that was pretty interesting, something I never do in The Sims. I always place the entrance pretty close to the street, because I'm usually very functionality first, because functionality is usually part of the design. But in this case, I decided to give it a go because I really liked the front, and it was what it inspired me to make this build in the first place. So we made the walls a little taller. I don't know if you noticed, but we didn't make them taller because the house was looking a little bit chubby. I almost always use the medium size wall because I just think that's a good height, unless I'm doing something very specific that should be smaller. Here I'm making some but at this point I really searched for the source of the first image that I had found, so I was able to find the place, the architects who make this, and in their page in projects I found the image. I'm gonna try to I didn't save the link, but I'm gonna try to find it again and link it in the description below, in case you wanna see kinda more of where I took the inspiration. But I basically did mostly the front, and I did take inspiration for the interior design, but just a little bit of the layout, because something really nice in that front shot that inspired me in the first place is that you could see the living room through those beautiful windows and the light that comes from them, and also that very narrow strip on where I placed the stairs is where it's planned for stairs basically. And I really liked how the two-story windows looked, especially with those stairs that have they're not solid, so you can see the light go through them in certain lights. So yeah, I really like how it turned out. The layout was a little bit of a challenge because I did want to place the entrance is at the back, so that already makes it a little bit strange. You could easily just change it up and move add a door to the side or something like that. But I thought it was interesting and I wanted to try that out. But yeah, I did struggle with the layout because it's not a tiny house. So we do have a space to play around, but we have like it's not a lot of space. So it's a weird size because it's not too much and it's almost too little. So it's an awkward shape. So I did want to make the house pretty big. At this point I was already imagining the person that would live here. So in my imagination, she's an architect, a very young architect that is just not starting to work, but she's still a beginner. Sorry. So she's not like super wealthy, and she's not like a very well-known architect, but she's just starting to work and get bigger projects, so she could get this house. And this house is interesting because I was mentioning the house that is next door. That house was also based on an image from Pinterest, and my idea was just to make a bachelor pad because it's pretty small. And I kind of wanted to make another version of that. So for this one, I imagine that the architect I was talking about, that she's a bachelorette and that she's very young and just, I think it could be very interesting for gameplay, like having them be neighbors and maybe get to know each other and become friends, or I don't know. That's for your creative interpretation. I really like how the desk area turned out. Those desks work perfectly to make like a corner desk, and I also added the sketch pad because we don't have an architect career in The Sims 4. So I guess she's just gonna have to be an artist for now. But she gets the very cool sketch pad to sketch in, and actually you will see her in the cinematics that she's gonna be sketching with her cool sketch pad out in the balcony. I did want to make sure that the space didn't feel cramped because I do want to keep the modern theme throughout the whole build, even the interior. And I like how the interior turned out better on the downstairs than the upstairs. But I think it's still very good. Here I'm struggling to make that very cool L shape more pronounced because it's really one of the coolest features of the house, and it just gives it like such a different dimension. And in The Sims it's usually difficult to get a vertical element to go well with a horizontal element, but I really like how it turned out. Here I'm doing the balcony. It's nothing too fancy, just a chair, some place to put your beverage, a little table. Here I tried to get a little fancy with the landscaping. I didn't do much, I just raised up the terrain a little bit there in the back so it looks more so it makes more sense that it's raised up, and also to put some plants there that didn't look weird, just sunk into the terrain. And yeah, we keep the landscape very simple. I imagine her to be a very strict person, very structured, likes things a certain way. In this time lapse, you're not gonna see the trash or the mailbox, but before the screenshots, I do change it up. And speaking of screenshots, we're almost there. Well, cinematics, and this build is gonna be on the gallery. Please give it a like if you liked it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!